Okay, I want to show you how to do comments in PHP and talk about a couple reasons to do them. First, how to do a comment. So in every language, you can put comments in your code, and in PHP, the way to do that is to put, or one way to do it, is to put two forward slashes at the beginning of the line. So essentially, it's going to run all the code here, but it's going to ignore this line because it has those two forward slashes in front of it. So that's how you create a comment in PHP. So if we were to run this program, we would not see that. Nothing's going to happen and nothing's going to show up on the page because that line of code is a comment or is commented out. So there's maybe more than two reasons, but two major reasons to do comments is one, to give information. So notice here, or let me add another comment up here. So maybe I'll say declaring variables in this section or something. Right, so you can sort of add additional information for yourself or for others who read your code later about what you're trying to do in the program. So particularly if you're doing something kind of weird or complicated and you're doing some strange calculation, there's not one really here, but if you're doing some complex calculation, you might add a line or two of comments, just explaining what you're doing. So, if you want to add another line here, you can just put, I could put some more details here about whatever I'm trying to do. So that's pretty straightforward. Two forward slashes, and it will ignore what comes after in terms of the PHP processing it and displaying it on the web page, and adding comments to give detail, to give your own, notes to your own self or whatever it might be. Very straightforward. The other reason to use comments is occasionally you might have a line of code that you're testing with, or that you want to run, or that you want to kind of turn on and off, so to speak. And rather than deleting that whole line of code out of your source code, you could just put those two forward slashes and sort of comment that line out. So notice if this was just something I was testing with or something I wanted to maybe add back later, I could put those two forward slashes and it'll essentially ignore that line of code. And now when I run the page, even though the code's still in my source code, it's not going to run it and show up on my page. So the two reasons to use them generally are for additional information, and like I said, you can kind of uncomment or comment codes or lines of code that you want to run sometimes and maybe not run other times.